Okay, so ready for this? We're diving into the past perfect. And like not just the grammar rules everyone dreads. This is about, how to actually use it to sound impressive, to tell better stories, all that good stuff. You guys sent in some seriously interesting questions after our last deep dive.
It's one of those things, right? You kind of know it, kind of use it, but explaining it. Whole other story.
Totally. Okay, so I was looking at this website, Past Perfect, more than just grammar, by the way. Love a dramatic title. And it got me thinking. I use this tense, sure, but do I really get it?
Happens to the best of us. But that's why we do these deep dives, right?
Right. So the site breaks it down like this. Three main uses. First up, a finished action before second point in the past. Like, when we arrived, the film had started.
Ah, yes. Classic example.
But, okay, help me out here. What's the big deal? What does the past perfect actually do in that sentence?
Think of it this way. Without it, you're left hanging. Did they miss the beginning? Were they late? With the past perfect, boom, crystal clear. They arrived, the movie was already going.
Ooh, okay, so it's like
Yeah.
establishing a sequence, but with grammar.
Exactly. You're not just listing events, you're building a timeline, a chain of events.
Okay, so it's like those crime dramas where they're laying out the timeline on a whiteboard, but with grammar.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so powerful for storytelling. You're drawing the listener, the reader, deeper into the narrative, making them experience those layers of time.
That's so cool. Okay, what about use number two? Give it to me.
This one's all about duration, something that started in the past and kept going up until another point in the past. Their example is, when he graduated, he had been in London for 6 years.
So it's not just that he lived in London. At some point, we're getting this whole, time span, right?
Exactly. It adds a layer of depth, you see. Not just what happened, but for how long leading up to that moment. Makes it richer.
It's like instead of a snapshot, we're getting a time-lapse video of his experience.
Yeah.
So cool. Okay, third use case. This is where things get juicy.
Ah, yes. This is where we get into what ifs and sliding doors moments, possibilities.
Exactly. Unreal or imaginary stuff in the past. The site gives the example, if I had known you were ill, I would have visited you. It's crazy we had this whole tense just to talk about things that didn't actually happen.
It is fascinating, isn't it? It's that human urge to rewind, to imagine how things could have been different.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's like we're wired for this kind of thinking. And the past perfect is how we actually express it. Mind officially blown. But before we go full philosophy here,
Laughs.
right. Back to the basics. How to form this mind-bending tense. Okay, so how do we make this tense anyway? The website breaks it down really nicely, actually, the positive form. Pretty straightforward, thankfully. It's just had, plus the past participle of your main verb. I had walked, she had eaten, that kind of thing.
Okay, so no crazy irregulars for once, thank goodness. Though, I gotta admit, I do get had and would mixed up sometimes. Like they both shorten to add, right? Ah, yeah, that trips people up. It's all about context, really. This website had a good point, actually. Would always goes with the infinitive, so to plus your base verb. But had, in past perfect land, always wants that past participle. The verb form that's usually ed, en, or sometimes those weird irregular ones.
Okay, that actually clears up some stuff I've wondered about for a while, to be honest. So what about when we're being negatives Nancy's? Or asking questions in the past perfect? How does that all work?
Negatives are easy peasy. You just pop not in after had. Simple as that. I had not eaten, or, more naturally, I hadn't eaten. Questions get a little switcheroo, though. We usually flip the subject and had around.
You mean like instead of you had gone, it'd be had you gone?
Bingo! You got it! And same deal for those why questions. Why had you gone? Where had you eaten? You get the gist. Honestly, though, instead of getting lost in the weeds of question grammar, which, let's be real, you can look up any time, let's talk about how the past perfect feels. What makes it hit different.
Yes, because we've heard
Yeah.
these phrases, but figuring out why they work is the key.
100%. Okay, so think about these two questions. Why did you leave the party early? Simple enough, right? But now, why had you left the party early? Both asking for a reason, but that second one, the past perfect, it's like hinting at this whole backstory, this whole chain of events that we're only now getting a peek into.
Whoa, okay, you're right. It's not just about the leaving anymore. It's like
Yeah.
everything leading up to it just got more interesting. Okay, I need another example. You got me hooked.
All right, picture this. You're reading a book, and you come across the sentence, she had never felt so alone. Now, a simpler way to say it, sure, just she felt alone. But that past perfect, it adds weight. Like this isn't just a fleeting feeling, this loneliness has history. That's powerful stuff.
Okay, chills. Literal chill. You're right. It's on a whole other level. I'm not just reading the words. I'm practically in the story now.
That, my friend, is the magic of the past perfect at work. It's not just knowing what happened, but the impact, how the past echoes into the present.
This is blowing my mind. I never realized grammar could have such a huge effect on how a story makes me feel.
It's subtle, but man, it works. And it's not just books, either. Think about how often you hear the past perfect in everyday talk. I'd never seen anything like it before. They'd been planning that trip for months. It's everywhere once you notice it.
And it totally changes things. Like, they plan the trip. That's just whatever. Information. They've been planning it for months. Now I'm invested. I want to hear all about it.
See, you already get it. This is why this deep dive matters. It's not just some rule in a textbook. It's about really using language with all its little shades of meaning. It's next level.
I am 100% on board with that. But, we've been talking a lot about stories and how this tense brings them to life. But earlier you mentioned something really interesting, how it can even change how we think about our own lives, especially through that whole what-if lens. That really piqued my curiosity. Can you unpack that a bit more?
Oh, absolutely. It's funny, right, how often we use the past perfect for regrets, those if only I had, things that can really drag us down. But here's the wild part. This tense is about the past, yeah, but it can be seriously powerful for, like, shaping your present, your future even.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm interested in. How do we get from grammar to, like, life advice?
Here's a thought. Instead of just saying, if I'd studied harder, I would have aced that test, which we've all been there. Use that past perfect awareness to dig a little deeper, Ask yourself, okay, so I didn't pass this time, but what did I learn from how I have been studying? What can I actually change for next time?
So it's like slipping the script, right? From if only the next time I'll...
Exactly. And that's just one example. The past perfect can help us look at all kinds of choices we've made. Big stuff, small stuff. It's like this awesome tool for, like, reflecting, right? Yeah. Understanding why things happen the way they did and then using that to make smarter choices going forward.
I love this. We're not just talking about some stuffy grammar rule now. We're talking about self-improvement.
I love that. It all comes back to how amazing language is, though, right? The more you get it, the more you get yourself, I think.
This has been such a cool conversation. Okay, before we wrap up, let's recap, make sure our listeners are all caught up.
We did cover a lot. First off, I really hope everyone listening comes away from this not afraid of the past perfect. It's your friend. Use it. Have fun with it. Make your writing awesome.
Yes. And, like, bigger picture. It's not just memorizing rules. It's about telling those captivating stories, those what-if moments that make us human. And, hey, maybe even using the past to, like, create a better future for ourselves.
You said it. The past perfect might be about the past, yeah, but it can be this surprisingly powerful tool for shaping who we're becoming.
And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive for today. I don't know about you, but my biggest takeaway is just how much depth there is to language, these little connections to how we see the world, how we make sense of it all.
100%.
So, to everyone listening, if this got you thinking, don't stop now. Keep exploring. Keep asking those questions. Keep those brain gears turning.
Until next time.